stop using tick to handle your weapon firing. Tick is frame rate dependent. That means your weapon firing can behave differently depending upon your machine's performance. Point here is, for raycast weapons in Unreal, use timers. Timers let you control the fire rate directly. Single fires one shot, burst fire keep the timer running until the burst count is reached and you still have ammo. Full auto, keep the timer running while the trigger is held down and you still have ammo. Launch the timer on start fire using a loop delay equal to your fire rate. That keeps your weapon timing clean, consistent and easy to control. And yes, firing at lots of rounds per second works incredibly well using this approach. This enum defines the weapon fire modes. Single fire means one shot per trigger pull. Burst fire means a fixed number of shots. Auto fire means the weapon keeps firing while the trigger is held. This timer handle controls the repeated firing. Instead of firing every tick, I start a timer when the weapon begins firing and clear it when the weapon stops. That keeps the firing logic independent from the frame rate. The fire rate is the loop delay for the timer. So if this value is set to 0.1, the weapon fires every 0.1 second. This gives direct control over the weapon timing. This variable tells the weapon which fire mode it is currently using. The same firing system can support single fire, burst fire and full auto without rewriting the core firing logic. This variable controls how many shots are fired in burst mode. For example, a value of 3 gives you a 3-round burst. The timer keeps running until the burst count is reached, or the trigger is released, or the weapon runs out of ammo. This is the calculated number of shots allowed for the current trigger pull. Single fire sets it to 1, burst fire sets it to the burst count, full auto sets it to an unlimited until the trigger is released or you run out of ammo. Before firing, the weapon checks the ammo. Each ray fire consumes 1 round. If ammo reaches 0, the timer is cleared and the weapon stops firing. This is where the firing sequence begins. First, we check ammo. Then we update the shot count based on the fire mode. We reset the current shot count, fire the first ray immediately, then start the timer using the fire rate as the loop delay. This is the main firing function. It checks ammo, consumes 1 round, increases the shot counter, and stops the timer if the shot limit is reached. Then it performs the raycast using line trace single by channel. This is also where effects would be triggered, like muzzle flash, sound, recoil, hit markers, impact effects, damage, and replication. Stop fire simply clears the timer. For full auto, this happens when the trigger is released. For burst fire, it happens when the burst counter is reached. And for any mode, it also happens when the weapon runs out of ammo. This works for single fire, burst fire, and full auto. Clean weapon timing is one of those small things that makes a big difference in an FPS framework. This is just one of the many Ghost Alpha code snippets coming as I continue to build the FPS framework series. I will add a link to the sample classes in the comments.